From shocking betrayals to match outcomes that left the fans outraged, we're here to break down the moments that shook the ring. Whether you're here for the drama or you're here for the debate, it's going to be pure chaos tonight. And we got all of that covered. So strap in, wrestling fans, because this is going to be a wild ride. Welcome to season 3 of Championship Culture. I'm Brandon the Guy, and remember, everybody has a story. Now, he'll probably be doing some run ins like he likes to do, if you ever seen the flagship show, The Wrestle Room now, on Wednesdays at 10:30 p.m. He'll probably do some run ins. Who am I talking about? None other than H to the A, the S to the T, to the H to the E, to the 3 to the R to the D, Ash the third, the super producer himself. But, like we said for season 3, you're in for a wild ride. And if you can tell by the show's topic, we're going to talk about some championship controversies tonight. But in order to do so, I had to call a bad guy, and I'm gonna just say that because this guy is not only a producer and a podcaster, he's one of the sides of four sides of the ring. He works behind the scenes on projects such as Opinionated, which I won the first round. We ain't gonna talk about that. He's not a fan of Cody Rhodes, but he loves the big three of the Shield. He's a visionary. He's a revolutionary. He is none other than the bad guy himself, Brandy freaking Savage from Four Sides of the Ring. Let's welcome him to Championship Culture. Are you singing your own song back
Yes,
there?
I am. Yes.
I saw you in the corner. I said, "What is this man doing?" And I was like, "Oh, he's doing it." Oh, I said, "He's having a little ball back there." So
Yes,
I tried to
sir.
tell the people, you're kind of like Four Sides of the Ring is the wrestling realm from another universe, right? And it's crazy because you're kind of like the super producer yourself, Mr. Brandy freaking Savage. We're not going to say what your real name is. We're going to keep kayfabe alive and just keep calling you Brandy Savage or Mr. Savage. And like somebody says, um, it must be Tuesday. And guess what we're going to do tonight? Well, before we get in there, tell the people about yourself. Tell them who Brandy freaking Savage is. Not the real person. Just who's Brandy Savage.
Randy Savage is, someone who just loves watching wrestling, loves good heel work. Can't be bad heel work. Not really always a fan of the baby faces. I like the controversy. But other than that,
Hmm.
I'm basically the brand ambassador of Four Sides of the Ring.
So it seems like this topic is going to suit you very well, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
Because some people like to always, want the hero to, yay, but you probably was the person that loved Avengers Infinity War. You probably loved the ending of that when the bad guy won.
When the mad guy
Spoiler
won,
alert.
exactly.
Look, spoiler alert. But I'm gonna just tell you this because we want to talk about championship controversies, right? And one of the first things that comes up, and we're gonna dive right into this, right? When it comes to a controversy, people always say, it's got to be a topic of a conversation. It's got to be something that fans are going to want to attach to. It's going to divide the fans. It's going to have them saying, you know what, this should have happened. No, that should have happened. But one thing that always stands out about controversy, and me being a bell guy, is always disrespecting the championship. Now, when I say disrespecting the championship, I'm going to take you to one that always stands out to me because I didn't understand it. And I'm going to take you back to a time back in August of 94, right? Shane Douglas had just won the prestigious NWA 10 pounds of gold, right? And he basically tossed it to the side for a ECW world title. Now, let me set the stage for you. You had the NWA that was, reigning over territories. Everybody wanted it. It was the it factor when it came to wrestling. If you won that outside of the WWE Championship, you were the man. And he said, "No, in lieu of a brand new startup company, a new company that was branching off from NWA to say, nope, we're going to be our own for the ECW title. Was this genius or was this a stupid move?
I think this was genius.
Oh,
I
so
think it's one of those things where it's like, all news is good news. So you got people talking about it. It's, like you said, the divided conversation. But it was like another thing where like it was Eastern Championship Wrestling turning to Extreme Championship Wrestling, in a sense, making a heel turn on the business itself. And I think it was genius.
but in that heel turn, was he already there or did he turn even more heel?
Well, I
Because
mean,
I don't know
like
about you. I don't know if he was running to go see Shane Douglas. I don't know if he was running to go see tickets. He was that guy that you would cheer for because he was going to put on a good match. But was he the right person to do this?
I think they were desperate. So a name's a name at that point.
Do you think it brought eyes to the product for EC? Well, let's talk about both iterations of ECW. You think it brought eyes to the product, or do you think people just like, nope, he disrespected a title that has a lineage, don't care, don't want, I stayed on his career.
I think it's one of those things where like the people were probably upset, but I feel like the people behind stage probably understand a little bit because it's a dirty business. To get over, you gotta put somebody else under.
And I'm gonna ask you this because remember back in '94, we consumed wrestling differently. 90% of what we saw, we had to go see. We didn't have it at our fingertips at a moment notice, like pick up your iPad, your phone, cut the TV on. No, you had to physically go there or wait for it to come on TV. So imagine in this time frame, hearing that, the guy just won the belt, finally climbed the mountain, and then just said, no, nah, never mind, I'm going after this one. Do you think that added some prestige, or do you think it's kind of did his job and made us talk about it?
Well, if we know anything about ECW, they were always about just rigging the dirt sheets with content just for people to talk about. I think they didn't really care about prestigiousness. They just wanted people to know.
And it's crazy because when you talk about people wanting to know, I'm gonna fast forward a little bit for you because we can beat that to death. But I'm gonna tell you something that was even more controversy because it's still talked about to this day. In December of '95, so a year and some months later, we watched a certain woman take the WWF Championship in a trash can and throw it right in the bin on live TV. Correct?
Correct.
And she said she's no longer a London Blade. She's now known as Medusa, right? Did this help the Monday Night Raw? I mean, Monday Night Wars.
I, I don't think this was like the move to help them. I think again, it's like one of those things where you got eyes on the company, you got people talking about it, and now what are they gonna do for the women's division? But
And that's my thing. So if you throw away the WWF Women's Championship, we got a WCW Women's Championship, but that lasted, a blink of an eye, and most people don't even realize it because we
what, two
actually
years?
got the women's title and we got the Cruiserweight Women's Championship. And all I think, if memory serves correctly, mostly New Japan women won it. It was really
Mhm.
nothing defending the United States. So we threw away a title that at least had some women's lineage attached to it for something that was just, oh, we don't know what to do with it.
They
So
had
and,
no idea.
and so I could see if it was going to help the division, but what did it really do besides make a statement and say, as Brian H. Waters like to say, they walked across the street? Because that's what Alundra Blaze / Medusa did. She just walked across the street, joined WCW. And I don't know, was this needed? Because the outcome don't seem like it was really there outside of us just talking about another nail in the coffin for WWE, well, WWF at the time.
Well, WWE at that time was coming across as if like they didn't need women's wrestling. So I think someone
Mm.
was trying to pick up the ball where they dropped it, and they themselves couldn't even pick it up. It was too heavy for them because, like you said, they had New Japan women coming in, and there was like two WCW women's on fighting for that belt with a whole other cast of stars from other places.
Now, I'm gonna tell you something crazy. We're not gonna let WWE off the hook because they did some things to belts too. But it seemed like these other promotions were trying to toss away already known and bigger name promotion to make a name for themselves. ECW said, forget NWA. WCW says, forget you, WWF, the big dogs in the thing. And we said, nope, this is what we're going to do to your belt that has some lineage, that has some things attached to it. We're just gonna throw them to the side. And I'm gonna ask you this because how much you want about this is the founder? Is it the founder?
We
So
keep it kayfabe alive.
we can look. I'm not. I'm gonna try my best not to use real names, but sometimes when I say the founder, I call him Martin, or I'll literally call Martin the founder. He's like, I'm Martin. I'm like, oh, I
Oh,
mean,
my
there
bad.
I am. So with that being said, I think we're gonna, you there with me, buddy? I think we're gonna go ahead and take a little small break because we got something to tell the people. We're gonna help them out real quick.
If
Maybe
you're
not.
looking to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use our promo code Wrestling Realm for any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's promo code Wrestling Realm on any one-time purchase of $50 or more.
When it comes to controversies, right? Some things that divide people are when something happens to the belt, right? It doesn't have to be thrown away. It doesn't have to be, we're going to get to other things done. But sometimes people say bye bye to a belt. Saturday night's main event, 1989. A man who should have been WWF champion takes the WWF Wing Eagle Championship, and on that show decides to take a hammer to it and destroys it. Now, for a while, the legend was this is what became the hardcore title. And actually, as we, find out more and more, that belt was actually sold to a belt collector, and they actually just made the hardcore title out of something else. But we saw this happen, right? And I know I'm biased towards the Wing Eagle, but let me just say this: was this must see TV for WWF at the time?
It wouldn't have been for me. like
Why not? No,
I,
let's hear it. Why not?
I don't know. It's like that. That's one of those situations of like out of all the controversies, that's the one that kind of got me the most upset. It was
And
like,
see, so it did his job, right?
yeah, but
Because
it's
think about
like
it.
it's your own company.
But he was mad. Remember, the whole thing is he was trying to do that to get a title shot. And the thing that got me was he was doing it in live. They didn't have to do no camera work, no nothing. He literally was just taking the hammer and destroying it right then and there. And you could tell, like, everybody was like, oh, this is really happening. And it's something that we didn't see a belt get destroyed to this point.
Mhm.
And to have it done to the biggest star in the industry, as in Hulk Hogan, or I'm not going to say what Nick Rand likes to say, but you know what. Uh,
Yeah.
but did this help their story or did it hurt it? Because in my opinion, I think it would have helped if Mr. Perfect would have won and then introduced his own.
Exactly, and that's what were the story they were trying to tell? Were they just trying to get a new belt and put it on Hulk Hogan again, or like just yeah? What was the
Just
purpose
to
of
have
it? 'Cause,
Hogan have another heel. To
yeah,
have somebody else that, Hogan can stay on top, Hogan can be, but and I'm not trying to bash Hogan because
it's
that's
okay.
part of the reason we're wrestling fans because of what happened, besides anything else. But Mr. Perfect should have been WWF champion. And what better way to do it after he did this? It would have been the extra on the coffin because even if a day later he would have lost the bag, at least he would have had a title reign. And
Exactly.
I know it was a wild time, but I'm gonna just say this about that: destroying a belt is never good, and we've seen these things happen before. But it definitely, he put it in the comments. But I will say this: it definitely did show how cheap the belt was, but I think it might have been a different prop. I don't know if Zeke would actually smash like that with a
Yeah.
hammer. I don't even know if brass was smashed like that because it looked like it was kind of breaking like glass when you watch the video. But and the whole thing was Hogan was the one that debuted that belt. So that was a special belt to him. It was a connection. It was basically, you know, not necessarily a
Exactly.
Hogan 86, but it was actually Hogan that debuted the Wing Eagle. But I'm gonna bring you a little bit further in time, right? Because 1997 was a wild time for wrestling, right? Just let's say the 90s was a wild time for wrestling. And I don't know if you remember this episode of Raw when Stone Cold takes the Blackstrap Intercontinental title and tosses it into a lake. Let's talk about it. Did this controversy create conversation or did this controversy shock you?
I mean, so everything all we're talking about is all post because I'm 29, so like, but that is one of those things I remember like watch like The Rock, Stone Cold feud is one of the biggest ones I remember from my childhood, and that's the one I literally shed tears because Stone Cold was harassing The Rock. As I watch it back, Stone Cold was justified in everything he did, even throwing the belt in the water because if you remember, The Rock stole his belt originally, and I'm all for petty antics.
But this is the point of controversy. It has you now. You see it through a different set of eyes because I
Mhm.
remember seeing it was like they actually just threw a belt. How are they going to get it out? Oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And not knowing, of course they're going to have multiple ones. But I was shocked. I was like, why would Stone Cold do that? And it was like, and like you said, I totally forgot that this was part of that rivalry. But it was like I was so in the moment of being shocked. But then you see the crowd cheering for it because
Mhm.
it was awful about what Stone Cold was doing. But it was like, oh my gosh, like I couldn't believe it that had happened. And it was crazy because you had the two bigger stars. Well, they would become the biggest stars in WWE,
Upcoming.
but they were the two upcoming stars that was like, this is what we do. It was like their rivalry turned up a notch.
Yep.
And it's one of those things that helped propel what we saw in the next few years. It helped propel what happened with all the WrestleManias going forward. It was like, oh my God, you still remember Stone Cold tossing it into the river. And I'm like, oh, you talking about somebody disrespecting their belt? But he said goodbye to that championship because he definitely made sure it went overboard.
Yeah.
And we're gonna get to this prototype because he says, looking right at Naito disrespecting the IWGP IC title. Whew, yep. And we also can talk about Will Ospreay when he changed it to the United States title because his United States, I mean, to the United Kingdom because his United States belt got destroyed. But that might come up a little later. We'll know. But that was definitely hold on to that, Justin, about Naito because I feel like it was a reason that happened. But all of these things, can you think of any other moments in this time that we had to say goodbye to a belt during that time? Because I'm telling you, the next part we're gonna get to is gonna have some real um interesting comments. I'm gonna ask the people in the chat to thank you. This is what I was hoping he was gonna say, but this is something that the super producer, I'm surprised he ain't jumping to say when we said goodbye to a belt. She definitely didn't throw it in the trash. She definitely missed.
Definitely
She
missed.
definitely
It's, it's
missed.
it's it's alive somewhere.
it's it's off to the side. I thought R-Truth was going to have it like in his house on the frame or something because he's like a 84-time 24/7 champion or something. But man, you talk about throwing belts away. But let's take a quick break and we're going to get on to the next section.
You can watch all of our Wrestling Realm content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm.
Now here's the fun part. Are you ready for this? And this is why I'm gonna need people to I gotta address this. She definitely was a hero for that because that belt should never have been made. That belt should have been gone. I'm gonna say this as a fan, especially during the Vince McMahon time frame. Now, I'm not saying it's bad because Vince McMahon is the reason that we're probably sitting here talking because he made us all wrestling fans. Like it, love it, hate it. We had a feeling about wrestling, right? But how many times did you just say, "Why can't you just give us what we want?" And we being wrestling fans, right? There's been times that you probably were screaming at the TV screen. Time that you're like, "Why can't I get this? Why can't you just do this? Why can't you just do that? Or why did you do this?" So this is going to be crazy because it has some of my favorites, some icons, some legends, some reasons that we have some controversies, right? And the first one, I'm gonna take you on a journey because we've some things have come out about this journey, right? I'm at the point contract ended. Vince McMahon asked him to stay and said, "Hey, just stay here, just chill, whatever. You're not going to the other company." He's like, "No." Let him contract expired. He went across the street. Well, no, we're not gonna say cross the street. That's WCW. We're gonna say he went around the corner. TNA, right? Went around the corner to TNA, made a name for himself even bigger than what he did in WWE, arguably. Came back, was on the third brand at the time, became that world champion, and then his longtime partner was injured, so a feel good moment. Christian wins the world title. You know where I'm going with this. He did all of this to finally become a champion, one of the big champs. Because even though the ECW was a world title, let's call it what it is, they don't even recognize that in people's title reigns, right? So he got the big gold, the WWF version, and he won it. He won it in such a heartfelt way. We as fans was like, yes, because we felt that moment. But why? Why was it taken away from us? Since you're the heel guy, explain that to me. Why? Why? Why?
I mean, you just said it before. Mr. Perfect can have a 1-day reign and you'd be happy. So I mean, you can feel the same way about Christian.
No, no, no. You don't get off that easy. Christian has held every singles title at that time that WWF had offered. He went over and became NWA World Champion, right? Multi-time. Came back, ECW champion, right? And then he get the world title. And then you say, nope, give it back.
Now, who'd he give it back to?
It was RKO, Randy Orton.
That's
But-
why. That's why.
But who asked for that? And now that we know what Christian can do on TNA, right? I mean, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
in AEW, we had a watered down version of this heel of Christian Cage, but we didn't need that heel. There was nothing wrong with him looking for his peeps. There was nothing wrong with the merchandise. You saw people with the Kill Switch shirts. You saw people actually come to their feet when he came out. He was getting pops. Was it pops on the level of, John Cena? Absolutely not. But was it pops enough for a world champion? Yes. So we didn't need this heel Christian. Why do you think we need this heel Christian? Because we already had a heel Randy that's, he was already getting cheered or booed, depending on who he was wrestling. But why do we need a heel Christian?
I mean, they knew what it could be, and they couldn't do it then, but because he wasn't old and grizzly enough. But the man could work, so I think they knew what Christian was back then, and that's somebody who could do both. And
But the people were behind him. The people wanted this. Why did you just give us? Because then he got it back. Remember, it hot potato. He got it back because Randy got disqualified because he spit on him. But then he lost it again. Remember? And I was like, so what's the purpose of this? 2-time world champion in less than 3 months?
I mean,
And I know I'm a hypocrite because I said, that one time, that 1-day reign, because it's somebody on this list that we're gonna talk about had not even 1 day, a few minutes it seemed like. And definitely gotta shout out our brother from Malvin Alpha Mike, Mr. Mike the Italian Stallion. But let's see what your cousin said. Christian winning for Edge is just a poor version of Rey Mysterio winning for the title for Eddie.
Damn.
We all know that, but we wanted it. Think about it. We were backing Christian because who did he beat for that title? Who did he beat in that ladder match? I'm gonna wait for Mr. Nick Ram to say that. And of course the prototype. Are you talking about me or are you talking about Mr. Savage? Because I feel like I'm dominating this conversation because I'm a Christian person. But I want to hear why couldn't we have what we want when it came to Christian being a world champion? Because this is what controversy does. Championship controversy divides us, makes us talk about this. So now, why do we need that heel Christian?
I mean, you need the heel Christian because you wanted to be taken serious. I feel like he was at a time of caught in between. Was that also Captain Charisma time?
No, he was already done with that. That was his first run. He was just looking for his peeps. Remember, he was hitting the switch because his shirt had a person holding down the it was the cheesiest shirt ever. I remember that shirt. It looked like somebody was jumping, holding on to a switch with their they had just did like they dunked in the sports.
That's
You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, as you have on a baseball hat for the sports. But
the wrestling world needs a heel Christian. We just didn't know it then.
you had a whole Mark Henry there.
He
He was heel enough, right? Because remember, he was heel enough. You had, as much as we don't like to call it, you had a whole Bobby Lashley that could have been the heel.
Could have been. He probably would have been a great heel.
You had the horrible Great Khali that we don't know what that was, but you just added another heel. And it didn't, to me, it didn't help Randy's career. And it don't make me remember that he had that title twice.
Yeah, but that we can say about anything from that third brand.
All right. Well, I'm actually this about. We can talk about that third brand, right? But let's talk about the flagship show, right?
Hmm.
Now, special moment here in Baltimore. We watched Zack Ryder win the United States title. Then this man has his WrestleMania moment. He gets the IC title. The next night, the Miz takes it from him. So here I am saying that 1 day reign, right? Do you think this was punishment for him getting himself over more and more?
It's possible. And that could be the same thing that we could say for Christian too. You know, it's like we don't want you that over. We like the Miz more. And personally, I did like the Miz more.
But there's two different things. Christian got over because of the fans. Zack Ryder was getting over outside of WWE. Zack
Yeah,
Ryder was the man. He made himself a name. Christian was the name in the WWE. See what
that's
I
true.
mean?
Yes. Yeah.
So
But
to see Zack Ryder, I feel like because the whole thing was, oh, we're gonna take it away because he was over for so long. He chased the United States title, um, beat Dolph Ziggler for it. Sorry, Hugh. But it was a thing that we were all excited, But then the IC, he didn't even have a chance to. He defended it and lost it instantly. I feel like that's kind of be a punishment for him for being as over as he was because he was actually ahead of his time. If he was in WWE now, with the way social media are trending,
yeah,
imagine that merchandise they would have capitalized
that
on Zack Ryder. And did the Miz really need this at the time? Because, like you said, you like the Miz more. Did he need it?
he always needs it. He's never.
What?
That's the thing about the Miz. He's underappreciated. He's undervalued. People don't think he's worth. He's not worth a damn. And the thing is, that guy makes everything work. I'm still not a
And
fan of Zack Ryder.
you're
If
not.
I'm being honest,
How about Mac? Are you a fan of Matt Cardona?
that's what I'm saying. I'm not really like the guy hasn't like crossed
We'll
over to
talk
me yet.
offline. I'm at the.
Yeah,
So let me. So and this is why I couldn't believe, and this is where I think, and I keep saying the controversy, but here's where I couldn't rest on. That night he came out to Monday Night Raw, and he said, when he was a kid, he was took a picture with Razor Ramon, right? And he showed the picture of him holding Razor Ramon's black strip IC title, and he said last night I got to take a picture with Scott Hall, but this time he's holding my IC title. I'm like, oh, this is perfect. This is what we want. Moments like this, if it had been years later, like now, Triple H would have made that a whole big storyline. It'd have been a
yeah.
major thing. And it was like, wow, that feel good moment, right? And it got taken away from us. Do you think this was the first downward spiral of Zack Ryder not being I want to say main event player, but a top tier player in the WWE?
Yeah, so I don't think they ever wanted him as a top tier player. So they did like you said, they did everything they can to make sure, like, yeah, you got your belt, you got your reign, you deserved it, but we didn't necessarily want to keep it on you because they probably weren't a fan of him. And like you said, he was ahead of his time, so they didn't see it. They didn't see the vision. That's the problem.
But like Prototype says, it's
Woo woo
crazy seeing
woo.
Zack Ryder win the title and lose it in 24 hours in the same week. It was I don't even know if it was a full 24 hours. It might have been because they were earlier in the show or Mania than Raw was later. So it might have been he might have had it for like 26 hours. I'm not disputing this. I'm not disputing that The Miz is great. And I went on record as saying when he's ready to stop wrestling, he's a bona fide Hall of Famer because of the things that he's done. His body of work, you can't deny him. I mean, he's a company guy that has done everything the company needed him to do. So I'm not disputing that, Mr. Nick Ram. Um, I'm upset because his moment was there and then it was gone.
But it
That's all
was
I want
there.
to say about that.
That picture's forever, man.
And you say that picture is from him grabbing the title from the top of the ladder.
No,
Cool. Okay.
I mean the picture of him and Razor Ramon is
Oh,
forever.
him and Razor. Yes, because that was a cool thing that they did. And I was glad
Yeah.
that he got to share that because at the core of things, wrestlers are wrestler fans.
Oh, 100%.
So especially when they get to show, meet the people that they took the pictures with. Like when Big E talked about he took a picture with Goldberg and then he showed him and he was like, you could tell Goldberg lit up because he was like, dang, that was really a fan that really
Hmm.
appreciate AJ Lee. Then she meet Lita? Who
Yeah.
did AJ Lee meet? I think it was Lita, right?
I think it was Lita.
Okay. And then nonetheless, one of the biggest controversies that I can remember and I'm going to pick your brain on this one. At WrestleMania 19, the wrong man won. And I'm gonna say that again. At WrestleMania 19, the wrong man won. You know who I'm talking about.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
You agree that the wrong man won.
100%. That's still one of my biggest what ifs, my biggest blown bookings. Like, that's probably one of the biggest controversies.
And do you think it was because it was a WCW guy going up against a WWF guy?
Well, if you ask Vince McMahon, that's probably the story he would tell because, like Triple H said, he don't see color, he see green. So, yeah. But I personally, I don't know. I don't know if it was because he's WCW guy. I feel like we were past that at that point.
But see, and I thought we were past it because he was a 5-time world champion. He had WCW on his back when WWF brought him out. He was, there at the beginning of the invasion, took a back seat, paid his dues, showed that he could do it in the ring. Everything that you asked him to do, and then finally for him to get his Mania moment. And that's what we got. And the storyline has so many racial undertones.
It's so bad.
And it was almost cringy at the point that I always cringe because when Vince McMahon led into real life, it got a little like, "Rule, why we saying that?" But at least now with Triple H doing it, it's kind of like he's not insulting our intelligence. And I think back to the Eddie Guerrero promo where he was like, "I do have an addiction." And I was like, "Oh, he's admitting it. Please don't go far with this." And with this, I felt like they teetered the line of it being controversy doesn't create cash. Controversy creates facial expression like, ooh. So what you're saying is people like him, stuff like I'm like, when people use terms like that, I'm like, ugh. And I know they're just characters on the stage. And maybe that rivalry did exactly what it was supposed to do because we're still talking about it to today. I don't care how much over you are in that company and you are that guy. When you throw slurs like that, like even when Gunther said about, "Oh, you're just trash," he didn't call him like a bum or anything derogatory. He just said trash, a generic term. You know what I mean? But he wanted to show him why he wasn't. But back to the Booker T thing. Go back to this Booker T. Best shape of his career. Best matches that he was coming off the best run from WCW.
Yep.
He was coming off of I did everything WWF has asked me to do. I'm doing all the right things. I earned my spot and I belong. I'm showing the world this is where I belong and this is the stage for me to be on. And I didn't win. Why couldn't we just get what we wanted?
Trust me, I asked myself that question all the time. It's one like he was so over, so talented. He had proved himself outside of a WCW wrestler. He was WWE now at this point. And like that like you said, that one line always gets me. People like you, Book, and it's coming from a guy with a handlebar mustache. It's just it was just cringe, man. And like Booker T was a star. He was always like that's probably like my favorite wrestler. So that's one of the biggest disappointments from wrestling and Vince McMahon's booking ever.
So
and like,
I think he's trying to lighten the mood, and I can't stand Never He said no way the boss's daughter was going to lose a Mania. Okay. He still has a Mania win. Can't take that away. What was it that he was on Mania? I guess because he made it to it. But that's when, and I'm gonna just say this, and I don't want to get into racial things. When he said he doesn't see color, I remember somebody responding, "Then you lose the chance to see my story." And you had a chance you were telling a story of a person that made it. Look how far he's gotten.
Yep.
Look what he's done. Everything he's done was to get him to this point. And whether I have a Mania match or not, think about if Kofi would have lost at Mania. And he had 11 years in one company and was a bona fide second tier, when I say second tier, Intercontinental U.S. champion. He was doing the things. He proved himself as a tag team, multiple tag team partners. And it was like, imagine if he would have lost. It felt deflated. So, and even with Prototype said it was a slap in the face because we can't deny how great Booker T was. And then the crazy part after that, he got better, which is worse because he was like, watch what I do now. And then he said this is the second half of his career, and it just took off. And we can't deny whether you like King Booker or hated him, that was like, where's this guy been? Even the stuff he did with Cody, we're gonna call him Cody Rhodes because he hadn't transferred, and the Cody Raheem yet. You know, with the Intercontinental title and then WrestleMania, all that stuff. It was like he still got it. We still are seeing this great wrestler. Um, Yet this is true. WCW guys never got the big wins, but I feel like at that point Booker T had proven he's
He wasn't.
WWF.
He's beyond that. I
But
thought so, at least.
and I know that he didn't get plucked like the other ones there, like the Radicals and Billy Kim and all these people that had got taken from WCW before they closed, and then you know WWF now because more people probably remember Chris Jericho from WWF than they do WCW, unless you are a diehard cruiserweight fan. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
People probably like, oh, he was in WCW because of what he did in the WWF was Melton's bigger because he had a bigger platform. But in WCW, we remember the cruiserweight, the stuff with Bill Goldberg, all of the stuff that made you say pay attention to him. But yes, I shoehorned my Jericho reference in there. Um, that's all we're gonna say about that. And yes, he did eventually. But I'm gonna just say this: if he would have won at Mania, imagine what that would have done for wrestling fans.
And for the
Because
remainder of his career.
he beat Triple H. That's what it would have been. He beat
Mhm.
Triple H. You know what I mean? Like that's a big mountain to climb, and he climbed it. He was at the top, and even if he was at the top for one day, but you let Goldberg beat him, and he lost the bet.
But
You let
when you
no Scott Steiner never won because Scott Steiner messed up that match, right? Yeah, he was kind of botching everywhere, and I hate that word botching
yeah.
because I'm
Well,
no way, shape, or form a wrestler.
I've watched the Booker T doc, right? And one of the things he did say was like, "Oh yeah, it didn't bother me. I kind of was like, okay." And like I think that's probably one of the things about Booker T that we don't understand is that he was very much willing to go with the plan, whatever that plan may be. And that's the thing. He was loyal to the death of him. And that's like, he didn't go like, ended up going to TNA, but it was like at the tail end of his WWE career, they were probably like, get out of here at that point. And I think like
Go have fun, do something else. If that's what you want to do, go ahead.
And that's that's one of those things where he was loyal. He said yes to everything they threw at him because he just loved working.
And see, and the thing is, and I know we can probably talk about Booker T till we probably blue in the face, but
Okay.
you said you can. But
Yeah.
I think the biggest I have with that, yes, he went on to do other great things. When I met him, and I can't remember. I think we went. Can you hear me?
Okay.
When I met him, and somebody asked him would he come back to the ring, and his response was he doesn't have to. At the time, he was a two-time Hall of Famer. He said, "I'm a two-time Hall of Famer. Got my wrestling school, got my beautiful wife, and I got my kids. I'm a made man." He said, "I'm good. I got my Legends deal." And this is before he started really being the voice that we were hearing. And it was like, damn, he's found his rhythm in that. And it's like, think about it. If you don't hear Booker T at certain times, you're like, dang, we miss Booker T on commentary. Because at first at TNA, it was, please get him off of commentary. And now it's like, okay, he found his rhythm. And as much as we can say it was ignoring when he was like, I like it. Yeah. It's like you miss it when you don't hear it. So now he's found his rhythm. But this is a man that continues to evolve with the business. So that's part of what I want to say is why don't you give us what we want? So
they got
they should have. Any other final thoughts on why didn't you give us what we wanted?
I think I'm gonna flip it, and they don't give us what we want because sometimes we don't realize how bad it is what we want, how bad it's gonna be. And I'm just gonna say Cody Rhodes' reign has been lackluster, and that's all. I'm gonna leave it on that.
Well, that's why I read that you don't like Cody Rhodes. Don't let Mouthing Up Mike hear you because he's the president of the Cody Rhodes fan club.
Yep.
And Cody Raheem is the champion that we all need. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
And with that, I want you just to think about this. Maybe I need the wrong button. I thought he was going to come on the screen because I said his name. All right, maybe not. right, so I thought he was coming on the screen. Um, Now, as we talk about why we can't get what we want, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes, we gotta say, you know, I don't want to say show me the money because that sounds like a cliche from a movie. But sometimes you gotta, I don't want to say do what's best for business, but you gotta do right by the person, right? Because one of the bigger controversies, and we've heard this story told numerous times, 1991, Ric Flair went across the street, but he was still the champion, still had the big gold. And he went over to the company. They introduced that, the real world champion will be here. Um, it left one company without one champion, but another company had two world champions, right? And they didn't return his deposit. They didn't think that he probably was actually going to leave. And it caused some friction. Lawsuits was involved, all everything that you can think about, even to the point it caused WWF to even have another belt because they kind of worked themselves into a corner. They promoted this other world champion. They promoted the real world champion. They even showed the big gold belt on TV. Then, of course, lawyers got involved, and then we were stuck with a not even close replacement, not even a suitable replacement. It was like, what is that? What is that tag belt going on the screen talking about? That's a world championship. So we go from the big gold, a beautiful belt on the left, to clearly a WWF tag team belt that has a blue globe that just apparently just says world champion. And he was trying to get it over. He was trying to make sure that you knew what it was. I was not buying it. I said, this is crazy because the buzz was he was still the champion. Um, did this help WWF or did it make him look crazy?
I think it made him look super silly. It's like you can't promote one belt and then it's that come up with that that replacement, that Plan C belt. Like it's just
It wasn't not even plan B, it was plan C.
yeah, like, it's just so like horrendous. I'm not even gonna lie. I've seen that belt so many times and I forget like the story behind it. And it's just to see that that's the big gold replacement is just a letdown.
And a couple stories have said that he went to, I think it was Reggie Parks, and said, "Hey, we need a world title, and make it as quick as you can." And that was what he came up with off the fly. And I was like, a tag belt that said world champion.
Off the
First of all,
fly,
it's not
means
even.
that's what he had lying around in the garage.
That's what I'm thinking, but I don't. I'm not factual because I wasn't there. But that was so. I think in this case, it did the exact opposite. WWE was like, "Oh, we got that champion," because Flair was the hottest thing within NWA, WCW. He was running the territories. He was the man. He was their not necessarily an answer to Hulk Hogan, but he was doing that in a different level than what Hulk Hogan was doing. And to bring him in, it was like, oh, but guess what? These WWF fans didn't understand what was happening. So that's why I say I think this really, really hurt
It had to. It
WWF.
seems so confusing.
And WCW even made that horrible international belt, and then they had to unify. It was just a bad time for it because we didn't want to pay that man his money. Stories come out, we hear different things about it, but as your cousin says, the only thing that Ric Flair could give him was anything, and he would have made believe it was equal to the world title had he not been in WWE. Yes, 100% agree with you. If it wasn't in WWF, I keep saying E because at the time it was WWF. If he would have took that belt around, it would have felt like the most important thing on the show because Ric Flair had it. But in WWE, absolutely not. It looked like it was a tag belt. It looked like he was holding up a tag belt.
I feel like you could have told a better story with it if they knew what they were doing from the beginning. Like if you book it as like throw it in the trash just cause like it's not your belt anymore. If they knew they were gonna get lawsuits from the beginning, and then it's like we need a belt suitable for Ric Flair, and you sold it that way, you could have, but it's just like you didn't do it
They could
right.
have put more rhinestones on it, or someone just made it
Yes.
all gold. I would
All
just
gold would
said,
have been
don't put no
better.
paint on it. Yeah, don't put no paint on it. Make it all gold and outline it with rhinestones or something more. Put as many stones on it as you can. But in the theme of pay you what they worth, or show you the money, right? We fast forward to modern times. He's not my favorite wrestler. He seems to think that this man is my favorite wrestler. But we got to talk about one of the biggest
He is your
controversies
favorite
that
wrestler.
happened.
He is
God,
your
there
favorite
he
wrestler.
is.
Yes, he is.
Why did you? I'm blinking. You are there. Say his name and he
He
appears.
Yes,
appears.
sir.
So listen, the show just got interesting. You waited for this boy, didn't you?
I sure enough did.
So, ladies and gentlemen, we have the super producer, H to the A to the S to the T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D, as the third has entered the building.
Yeah.
So we're gonna narrate through this because we're gonna talk through. This is probably one of the biggest controversies that still is to this day, and I think it will be forever. We have things that are attached to wrestlers, like the streak will always be attached to Hulk Hogan. Um, RVD being the first Mr. Money in the Bank. You know what I mean? Like we have things that will be attached to people, and I believe CM Punk will always be tied to the pipe bomb. Because whenever somebody try to drop real things about what's happened, they compare it to CM Punk's pipe bomb, which there will probably never ever be something similar to it because we've blurred the lines of reality and fiction. At the time, you couldn't say things. Even when Paul Heyman ran down Vince McMahon about you did this, you did that, it still wasn't as good as the pipe bomb because he put it all out there on the table, right? And we didn't know what this was leading to, right? So we had this man drop all this stuff that we all been thinking and we've read the dirt sheets saying, oh, this is what's going on. He said, nope, this is what it is. I'm going to pull back the curtain, right? It led to a match with him and Super Cena, right? He won that sucker. And everybody remembers what he did at the end when he won, right? He quote unquote left WWE and blew a kiss to Vince McMahon, holding his precious title that has been around since 1963. He said, "I'm going to take this belt and I'm gone. See you later, Vinnie Mac." So he left. So of course Vince McMahon did what he knew what to do. Had a tournament. He had a tournament where Rey Mysterio became champion. This could be yay, we got something that we wanted, right? Rey Mysterio was champion for all of what? 46 minutes? Because then here comes Super Cena again. You got defended against me. We're going to pause there. Of all that stuff that gets to that point, this is where I say thank you that Rey was a WWE champion. But why could Rey be WWE champion for that 1 minute? Well, in that moment in time, compared to since 1963 until now, you gave him probably one of the shortest reigns, shorter than Kane's.
Yeah, absolutely.
I gotta say that because of that. So, Mr. Savage, Mr. Producer, as the third. Why Rey? Why we do this to Rey?
I'm gonna let you go first, Brandy.
I feel like Ray's, in a sense, a great choice. He's somebody who's believable to get squashed. He's somebody who you want to put a reign on. You know what I mean? Like it's the funny thing to me was like there's no stipulation that made Cena like get that. I felt like it was just him throwing his weight around. So that's my only thing I hated about it. Because like you have other short reigns with like Money in the Banks and stuff like that. This one was just like it's mine. Give me what's mine. And
he just lost it to Punk, and then he says, "Oh, I want it back."
I was never mad about it. Like to me, it was like it's the same thing. Like I'm happy he got a championship reign. He's forever in the books. He is, but he's not the true champion. We know that. Everybody in that room that was cheering for him knew that, and when that man walked over, they kind of knew what was up.
But not in the same show, because it was mid-show he won it. Because them matches was bam, 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 and he won it because he beat the Miz. The Miz was hopping around on one leg, wasn't he? During that match, was it Miz or was it? Yeah, because he had beat Kofi earlier in the night. And I'm gonna just address this real quick. He's not my favorite wrestler. That wasn't the greatest ending to a B pay-per-view show with CM Punk coming back. It wasn't. Hello, Willie Wood. I don't know who we pausing for because I missed that.
Yeah, I missed that one too. I ain't
it
saying
was
about
46.
tips.
Was it 46 minutes? I think it was. Was it? I said that. Maybe it wasn't. I just said it because I feel like it was like the last hour.
I think it's like 43, 46 or something like that.
Yeah.
We had to check that. But why Rey? Why we had to do the Rey? Ray. Why we had to do that to little Ray?
I thought it was low-key disrespectful. Well, no, high-key disrespectful. But, to be honest, why not Rey? Why not Rey? Because, I mean, he's a suitable replacement. He's somebody that the crowd would pop for. He kind of made sense at that point in time. So like I said, the crowd is going to love him either way. Rey Mysterio was hot at that point in time, but I disagree with John Cena throwing his weight around. That's the way it seemed, and he's just come back out there and just squash Rey out of the blue. You could have let Rey have it for at least a week or a couple of days or something. You know, you could have did it in a better way. You could have did it in a better way, but that's how things were ran at that point in time because Cena was the man. I'm gonna be honest, he was the man. And to be honest, that's what the crowd wanted to see anyway. They want to see Cena with that belt because he introduced the spinner. The spinner was made for him. You feel me? So it's like, all right, why not have the spinner on Cena? That's it.
But see, and here's the thing: the number 1 and number 2 merchandise seller, arguably, Rey Mysterio, because remember the mask. They always said when Jeff Hardy's armbands outsold the mask, that's when you knew you had a problem, right?
Yeah.
But John Cena can change the color of a shirt; it's going to sell out back on number 1, number 1 seller, right?
Mm-hmm.
But here's the problem: you had a person that everybody was cheering for, Rey Mysterio, right? He got the title. Everybody was happy. Great, good. You gave us what we wanted, right? I was so fearful that they were going to boost Cena even more because he's taking it off the person that we really want just for Punk to come back. But remember, Punk was the heel. Punk was the anti-hero. Punk was the bad guy. So it's like, why not let him give it to The Miz? He could have lost it to Cena. No harm, no foul. Super Cena back in the limelight. And then Punk anyway.
Hey, man. I can't tell you what he was thinking at that point in time with making these booking decisions. But from the way it played out, it seemed like he trusted and believed in Punk. And then Punk kind of screwed him over a little bit by threatening to disappear. So he had to throw a curveball in there. He had to make some moves, make some adjustments. And look, all right, Rey was the quickest person there. He was the quickest way to get it off of him right now. Because now I want to put it back on Cena because this is the guy that's going to – he's the face of the company.
Mm-hmm.
At that point in time. So why not have the belt back on Cena? That was just a way. It was a quick transition to get the belt off of CM Punk.
Remember, Punk still had it.
I mean, my bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That was a quick
fix.
Have a champion
to kind of throw it in there. I was just like, look, all right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna make this happen. Give him his moment because he deserved it. Let's be honest. Rey Mysterio did deserve to be a WWE champion. So give him his moment. All right, cool. Now we can take it away and put it on the person that we really wanted to be on.
And to add to that, I would just say, like, when you have somebody like Rey, he's kind of the perfect person, like you said, perfect time, perfect person, perfect transition. But you also don't want him to have it for a week because when Cena beats him a week later, it's like, damn, you gave him a championship reign. At least he fought for the championship that night, and there's a plausible reason why he lost that night.
Yeah, that makes sense. See.
But here's the thing. So we got fact check. It was an hour and 46 minutes. Was Raw 3 hours at this time? Because I feel like Raw has been 3 hours. I didn't realize it was that long. That it was 3 hours. I thought it was. But oh look, Drew said a shiny
pebbles.
Oh, he's talking about. Go ahead, hit him with it. Hit him with it.
With the fruity pebbles.
Yeah, with the rock said.
Go and get you some fruity pebbles.
Hard times. Love you. Hate your son.
Right.
Because you said low key, you said high key. Yep. Drew's used, just so you know, Willywood will use that on the next.
Oh, absolutely. I know.
Yeah, he's going to use that on the next sports debate, right?
You're welcome, brother. Yes, sir.
And of course, all hail Cena. If nobody likes somebody, of course the founder likes him. And Hugh, just so you know, that hat is on fire.
Oh yeah,
it's on fire.
Shout out to the Bowie Bay Sox. Yes, sir.
And he said the headphones have stayed in the same spot.
Absolutely.
Right, so
they're not moving at all.
They're not. They're stuck. But see, this is what I'm talking about. So they didn't need to rush Punk back. And that's it. I believe they should have kept him off a little longer, at least to SummerSlam. And even if you would have said, the Monday Night Raw, the Friday before, whatever you want to do, he came back. And that's the face there. And you're like, this is what we're going to do. I feel like it was all like Ludacris, new champion, Rey Mysterio, John Cena, match. And now here's the funny part, because this is where it gets a little foggy.
It gets a little foggy.
It gets a little foggy. because we get the match between Cena and Punk. Who wins? Because look who the referee is, right? And they're calling it the Undisputed Championship because we had the big gold at the time, right? It was both, right?
Yeah.
I think this was that, right? But they want to make one champion, right? And Punk wins, but lo and behold, he gets cashed in on. Oh, he got cashed in on against somebody I'd rather not name, but we know it's Nick Ram's favorite wrestler. And yep, he gets cashed in on, and Alberto Del Rio becomes champion, done by with the help of Kevin Nash.
Big Kevin Nash.
Kevin Nash had to take out Punk, and then cashed in. We did all of this post pipe bomb for what reason? The hot potato belt how many times? Because at this point, it's keeping us talking about it, but it was like, oh, that's it.
That's what this was for,
right? Do you feel like do you feel like that was a slap in the face of Punk for threatening to leave and all that good stuff? Is that what that was? Was that a receipt?
100%.
Oh, talk to me. Why would you say that?
I mean, feel like, man. Yeah, go ahead. You got
everything post the pipe bomb and post that was kind of a joke on Cena. It was like, he was promised things he never got. He signed a contract that they never honored because they were like, you didn't honor us. And like it's one of those things like Bret Hart conversations, Medusa conversations, and all those conversations. I'm never in the right. Like they're both wrong.
Now, what would you have done differently?
I don't think there's anything to do. I think there's too many big egos in the room. You can't do anything.
At that time, yeah.
Okay. That's fair. And I feel like, we just was ranking up the John Cena title reigns because we were just saying, well, here you go. Here you go. And I know, I shouldn't say this. I know this was a weird time for wrestling, and you had a lot of people hovering around the title. But did we need Alberto? Because then it went back to Cena, and then Alberto again. They traded it, and then it went back to CM Punk. So we did all of that in the span of what? From August to October? And I feel like it was surrounded with so much controversy that started with the pipe bomb. Because he spoke out. And then guess what? Guess who CM Punk dropped it to? Do y'all remember? The final boss.
No,
he wasn't the final boss.
He wasn't the final boss at that point in time.
Yep. No. He wasn't. He was just The Rock. Just to get The Rock and Cena. Just to get to Rock and Cena, the first and only time they ever wrestled at WrestleMania. A once in a lifetime match that we'll never ever see again in our lifetime.
That was the second time, right?
Was it the first or second time?
That was the second time. The first time I was there. There was no belt involved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because we forgot that we told you it was the once in a lifetime.
One time, yeah.
Now we're gonna say no, this is the first time for the belt.
You should know because yeah. You're right. I was about to say, didn't he introduce the new belt after that?
Yeah, the 2014. No, that was 2014. No, it was a while after.
Was it? It wasn't 13? It was definitely 13. Don't make me fact check you, brother.
Yeah, go ahead and fact check. See if it's the 2014 version or is it 13? Because maybe I'm thinking about 14 as the actual network logo. But Mr. Savage, while he's fact checking, right? If we didn't have the pipe bomb, do we have this hot potato of the belt?
It's like you would hope so. I guess like in their mind, Alberto Del Rio might have always been the champion. He was never in my mind as the champion, but we probably would have got here at some point. CM Punk dropping a belt to Alberto Del Rio.
Alberto was hot at that time too. I ain't gonna lie.
But he lost it at Night of Champions and won it back at Hell in a Cell. Like a month later, it was like, okay, you gave it back to him. I feel like I know he's not a good person, but it felt like it never got a chance to take off. Yeah. Notable. What do you say? Notable prick. Yep. It never got a chance to actually take off. And that's why I'm saying, well, why would you do this? Who wanted this? But.
And it was 2013.
It was 13. So 14 is when the network came.
That's when the official network without the champion at the bottom. Yeah.
Okay, got you. That's the 2014 version. Come on,
Belt Guy. You got me fact checking you.
Listen,
man. You taught me what I know. Come on now. God.
See anything? I'm getting ready for give me a break. I'm getting ready for 3-count trivia. You know, I got so many facts in my brain. I'm getting ready for 3-count trivia because we got to get our belts back. Well, we got to get the new belts. Yeah,
Right.
buddy.
Right.
Oh, put that down. We'll get to that. That's for later on. Yeah, but oh boy. So now, brothers, we might have to hear a word from our sponsors. What you think?
What sponsor you talking about?
I don't know. Do we have a sponsor?
I don't really no sponsor, bro.
I don't know. We get no sponsor.
It's just me, man. Come on, let's go.
Just me, Oos.
Keep
It's
it
just
moving.
you are the
Keep
sponsor.
it moving.
Because you know this is the part that he asks. This is the part that he wants to debate with you, Mr. Savage. So we're gonna call this. Who asked for this? Or who thought this was a good idea? That's what we're gonna call this segment. Who asked for this? Or who thought this was a good idea? And these things I'm gonna talk about. We're gonna talk about, and we want to know in the comments who thought this was a good idea. First thing, I'm gonna just say the finger poke of dude.
Oh,
Who
yeah.
thought this was a good idea?
Big poke.
Who thought that, you know, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Kevin Nash had just took the belt off of Goldberg, right? This is during that time,
Yep.
right?
Absolutely.
And, you know, the whole cattle prong thing and all that stuff. And it was like so much. First off, if you go back and watch any WCW, you're like, why is it so much chaos all the time?
Hey, man, I thought the Attitude Era. I thought the Attitude Era was bad. Like, whew.
I remember watching one. I couldn't even finish. I said the match. I don't think the match ever started because it was so much chaos. But the finger poke,
yeah.
Randy Savage, who asked for this, or who thought this was a good idea?
So I got a bone to pick with someone about this, and it's definitely Kevin Nash.
All right.
I feel like I feel like it was Dusty Rhodes in charge of booking at the time, right?
I don't remember.
I know he didn't ask for this. I know for a fact it wasn't him.
Right, it couldn't have been him.
No, I was watching like some clip the other day where he was talking to Shawn Michaels, and they were like, "Well, you were in charge then." He's like, "Well, it's your buddy," and he was like, "If we were there, he would never have done that."
Oh yes, I did see that. I saw that clip earlier today. Yes.
So, but like you know, but yeah, we got to blame Kevin Nash. You got to blame the guy who and or Hulk Hogan, the guy who's want to be in charge of creative with their damn contracts and just do stupid things to make the company look bad.
You agree or disagree?
I mean, we saw the documentary "Who Killed WCW." Mm-hmm. That's what it was called, right? Or was it worded another way?
It was something of that. Yeah,
it was something of that nature.
It was Who Killed W. Yeah,
yeah.
And because everybody's pointing at everybody else.
Absolutely. At that time, it just seems like you had egos going. Like I can't remember who exactly was running the show back behind the scenes. I don't know if it was. I don't think it was Bischoff. Was it Vince at that time? I can't remember. I think it was Vince at that time. I could be wrong. Somebody fact check me later. But the creative person and production, they had an idea. Hogan, you know how Hogan gets when he has that creative freedom. He wanted something else. Nash, you know he's gonna take it down because he just about getting paid, and I ain't mad at him. So I mean, look, if it needs to be done, go ahead and do it. So that's what you got from that. I didn't necessarily like it. I thought it was crazy. I was like, okay, so this is what we're gonna do. You took it off of Goldberg. Goldberg, your hottest star right now. Your hottest star, and you're gonna do this? Like, all right, bro. That makes sense. That makes sense. Go ahead. You got it.
Controversy creates cash. Isn't that what he said?
That's exactly what he said.
Here's the other thing. You know, I'm not a fan of, and we've seen this done a lot. But the originator doing this because remember, this category is who asked for this or who thought this was a good idea. Taking spray paint to a belt is never a good idea. But when they did it with the NWO, it has some lasting effects. WWE Shop was selling these belts. You can get them in black. You can get them in red. You can even order them from other people and say, you know, because they got NWO on it. Who asked for that or who thought that was a good idea?
I mean, you know, you can go first. I want first last.
No, I was about to say, I mean, to be honest, it is disrespectful to that title or to the title in general, but it makes sense with the type of people that did it. Like it was the
Okay.
NWO.
Because they were
They were
spraying
they,
people backs. They were
they were
spraying
they
it
were
everywhere,
basically vigilantes. You know what I'm
marking
saying?
their
Like
territory.
yeah, they did whatever they did whatever they wanted to. They ran things, so it kind of makes sense. Like, look, all right, well, let me vandalize the daggone title. It's ours. It's not yours anymore. WCW don't own this. It's NWO's. This is ours. We're claiming this because we came in here and we took over your whole promotion, and you couldn't do a daggone thing about it. None of your superstars could beat us. Your biggest superstar at the time when we first started, he joined us and became the leader of the NWO. So why not? It kind of made sense, but it's still degrading to the title and its legacy and its
What say you,
appearance.
Brady? What say you,
So
Brady Savage?
to piggyback off what he said, I definitely have to agree. Like it's the group of people that came in at that time. They were just badass rebels. They kind of just threw all prestige out the window. The Attitude Era threw all prestige out the window.
Yeah.
So it was like there's no room for a prestigious belt because that's the perfect way to defile it while keeping it cool. And that thing made money for decades at this point.
It's
Oh,
still being
And
sold.
and just to bring it over to another painted belt, I am a fan of Jack Perry's. It is a gorgeous
Oh,
belt.
we're not going to talk about that gross thing. It looks like somebody threw up. It looked like.
But
So while we're on this story of painted belts, it's some others that's been painted, right? Trey Miguel, but he did that to the X Division. Sir, leave that belt alone. It was fine. I like you, Trey Miguel. You are good at what you do, except when you painted that belt. Nitram's favorite person, CM Punk, said, "Oh look, I'm the world champion. I'm gonna put a black X on this belt because I have a black X on my knuckles." And yep, that's what we're gonna say about that.
yeah, that
Because
one
that
was I
was
wasn't a fan of that one
okay. And see,
because
that's the other
again
thing. Who thought
that's
that
like
was a good idea?
that's the era of there. That's an era of prestigious belts, so it wasn't a good time to do it. I felt like what I mean. Like it just didn't suit. It kind of to me it felt insulting to AEW, but at the same time, are we surprised that CM Punk would insult AEW? No.
But he was he had his own show on Collision, right?
Mm-hmm.
But last one for this category. Who asked for this or who thought this was a good idea? David Arquette winning the big gold. And I know it seems like I'm ragging on WCW, but I'm just going to say a lot of the controversies, because Eric Bischoff said it, and I just said it a couple times, controversy creates cash, right? We can go back to that documentary when David Arquette went backstage and he was like, yeah, I'm the champion. And he was talking to, clearly he's one of our favorite. We all agree, Booker T, right?
Mm-hmm.
And, what was the quote? He was like, yeah, but he said, how many times have you held this? He said, I haven't. And he said it like his whole world changed because he's like, somebody that should have had this deserved it. And I'm here with it. So, yet again, who asked for this? And who thought this was a good idea?
See, I genuinely hope nobody thought this was a good idea. I just hope they were like, well, we got a movie coming out. Y'all gotta do it. Y'all have no choice. Put it on that man. And even like the ending of that reign, like it's always hilarious to me because it's like one bum beats another bum for the biggest championship you have. Just the whole reign just was, safe to say, a shit show.
I ain't gonna lie. When he won it, I tuned out. I stopped watching. Like, no disrespect to David Arquette, but I think the logic behind it was, like you said, let's try to piggyback off of these movie sales. Because he had the movie come out and whatnot, and of course David Arquette was a big wrestling fan and whatnot, and I'm just like, all right, okay, that's cool, but it is disrespectful to people like Booker T, who's busted his butt day in and day out, put time in, put the work in, did whatever he had to do to get to the top, dealing with all of the hierarchy of the NWO and the big egos behind the scenes and whatnot, and he's there. Like one of your MVPs, he never got it. Salute to David Arquette for like kind of checking himself and be like, look, bro, like dang, like just bringing it to light, like, oh man, like this is not right. How can I make this right? And after that, like I said, after he won it, I was just like, for real, this is what we're gonna do. Nah, I'm good. I'm done. Let me go back to WWF.
And that's how I felt when Jack Perry showed that he melted down a belt and did all. I was like, "Yep, this is stupid. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. No, seriously, I'm good. Like
Isn't
I'm perfectly fine."
isn't that when they were fishing for ideas though? Like, isn't that when they was trying to stay afloat? Or am I tripping?
Who
WCW
A
this time.
Oh
WCW.
yes, that's what WC. Yes,
Yeah,
and like
so
you
I
said,
mean, it's
he
a, it's a
did
big
love the
it's a
business
big
though.
marketing ploy. It's a big
He
marketing
loved
ploy.
it, but he respected it, and that's
Yeah.
why he said he felt bad because he respected people like Booker T, those guys that had put in the work and was putting their body on the line, and he come in as the angle and thinking, hey, look what I did, and it was like I haven't done it, and like what I took from it, he's like I didn't do anything compared to these guys, and that's why I said I hate the word botch because I'm not the one out there trying to jump on ropes and taking bumps. I'm not that person, so how would I say, oh, that's a botch? Everybody mess up. How many people just been walking and trip? You only people say, "Oh, look, he botched walking." How many times you make an error or something? They don't say, in your profession, they don't say, "Oh, you botched." So that's why I'm like, nope. I respect the business, but last. Oh, I'm sorry, y'all done with that one because I know I kind of went off a little bit.
I know you good. You good.
And I say the best one for last because now that we've seen the Vince McMahon documentary, have you seen it, Brandy?
I have.
I'm sorry, I'm not even gonna call it a Vince McMahon documentary. I'm gonna say WWE documentary. Um,
Oh,
yeah. Now that we've seen that, this topic has been beat to death by every podcaster, every wrestling fan, every journalist. Everybody always want to go in depth. But now, after watching the documentary and hearing a different take on it, right? Who asked for the Montreal Screwjob? Who thought that was going to be a good idea? Hmm. Now
interesting.
let me give you this.
Yeah.
This is the same man that Ric Flair came over with the belt, right? So he's
Mhm.
trying to avoid what happened. Ric Flair coming, Alundra Blaze leaving. They even said at one point Haku left WCW with the hardcore title, I think it was.
I
Um,
think it was, yeah.
yeah, and they try to make sure Brett. So I have my thoughts on it. I know we talked about it, but let's talk about it. Who thought the Montreal Screwjob was going to be a good idea, or who asked for this? What say you, Brandy Savage?
I mean, so like I said earlier, there's something about people just aren't. There's nobody when you can't come to a solution. You gotta do what you gotta do. Is best for business. And in that situation, I kind of understand what Vince McMahon was going through because you gotta do what's best for business. And at the end of the day, Brett's whole crisis of why he didn't want to drop the belt was a personal thing with somebody personal. That's not bigger than the business. So the question is, who asked for it? I think it's Bret Hart. I mean, Bret Hart literally was like, no. And they're like, well, you're giving us no choice. So by giving him no choice, he brought it on himself. He asked for it.
But wasn't he willing to give it up at a different date? He just didn't want to do it. He just didn't want to do it at home.
So,
but I think that's where the contract thing
was up.
Yeah, right. So
it was running up on that. Yeah. So you have to do the job, and if you're a wrestling fan, there's no better place than to drop the belt. Coming from a wrestling fan, you should do the right thing. I know it's personal. He's the one who's Shawn Michaels who wipes his ass with the flag. Like, I get it.
But see, this is the thing. This is one of those controversies that still be. I thought we were done with the Montreal Screwjob, and to hear them say on the documentary, it doesn't matter if you sued him, you caused the money. He's always going to bring you back because it's what's right for the business, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even when Hulk Hogan was literally his competition, he said, "You want to come back?" And I'm like, okay, if you knew this man was leaving, or you really thought because you tried to keep him for 20 years, right? That was the story that he was trying to give him a 20-year contract, and he realized he couldn't pay him, right?
Yeah.
He was refusing to do a job to the guy that he hated in his country. We couldn't figure out no other booking situation that would have both guys come out looking decent and not Vince McMahon having to, I want to make sure nobody else knows it because you see how he said, you better swear to secrecy, you better make sure. And he was like, and we lied to our teeth. Do you think Triple H thought this was a good idea?
Obviously, yes. If he was pretty much the catalyst behind it.
Yep.
Wasn't he the guy that was like, hey, just do it? Because, he's loyal.
He said, "Yeah, you did it to what's her name? Just do it to him."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Do you?
I kind of get it from where Triple H looking at. Was he with Stephanie at that time? No, right?
No.
No, he wasn't talking to her at
He
all,
No.
was
right?
good with Sean. Him and
Yeah,
Sean were
yeah, he was.
close.
Yeah. So I mean, either way, like that's his boy, and Triple H is a student of the game. He's trying to climb up the ranks too. So
And he
all right, make
did,
the
and
call.
he understood that from the very beginning that sometimes you got to do what's best for business.
Right, right.
Except for put over Booker T.
Except for put over Booker T.
I mean, that wasn't his call though.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know
But it
what.
wasn't his call for the
Hey,
Montreal
bro, I don't
Screwjob.
know. I don't
You just
know.
worked yourself into a shoot.
What you mean?
Shoot
That was
face.
his call. That was his call.
For which one? Mania?
No, for the screw job.
Yeah, but I'm saying that wasn't his call. That wasn't his match. That was just his boy in the match. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
WrestleMania
he-
probably was his call that he comes out on top.
It probably was. I
It
feel like
probably was. Yeah, it probably wasn't. That was weird as hell, but yeah.
Because let's be honest, should Sting have lost to Triple H?
Yeah.
absolutely not. I don't think so. It's the icon.
I mean,
But
I don't
sounds
know.
like we got more controversy to discuss because
We do. There's
I just
definitely
wanted
a
to tap
part
that
two.
one. I just
Your
wanted
boy-
to tap that one.
Your boy Hogan got like 4 of them by himself.
He is a
And we-
controversy.
Yo, facts. And we already tapped into one, just a little bit, but yeah, he definitely has like 45 of them by himself. So that's a whole nother show. Part 2 coming soon.
The Hogan Files.
Not the Hogan Files.
Right.
Oh, Mr. Savage, any more controversies that you can think of that we did not cover today? Because I think we hit some of the major ones. Except for I really didn't want to go to the Montreal Screwjob, but I feel like you couldn't have a show without saying that one.
Yeah, you gotta touch on it a little bit.
Yeah, no.
I'm trying to think of what was my favorite one. Yeah, I can't think of any top of the head. But
It's okay.
I think I had one. How do you feel about Shawn Michaels just handing over the European title to Triple H?
that wasn't
It's
as
not really-
catastrophic
Right.
as
Okay.
the Doom, because like it's a like I feel like the finger point of Doom for a mid card championship would have been fine. It was just because it's the big gold. With that, like that, that's actually one of my favorite storylines. Is like when they're like reading to the ring and then just playing that game, and then they did it so much better.
Right.
Like,
No, I heard a couple of people just talking about how like it was kind of like disrespectful for him to just like, hey, whatever, I don't even want this match, like just give it away. But I get it, I kind of get it. Like if you got the world title, like
yeah,
I want the bigger title anyway, and be like, look, I'm gonna look out for my boy. Why
exactly.
So-
why,
Like when
why should
Chris
I give
Canyon
anybody
got
else a
handed the
shot?
United States title.
not?
Didn't Chris
Like,
Canyon get the U.S. title? He said, "Here, you can have this one," and he gave it to him.
Sure, buddy.
Right.
Little brother.
there you go. Cool your waistline with this one. There you go, right there.
Look
Iced
what he
up.
said.
The controversies.
Oh, that's crazy.
Listen.
That's crazy.
Listen, the only controversy is who's getting the blue strap and who's getting the red strap because we both like red. We both like red, as you can tell.
It don't matter. I make any color look sexy, so I'm just saying.
Look, see, look at that red. There you
Look
go.
at
Look
that.
what he's
Look at
showing
that
you. He's
You
showing you
turning me
the tip.
on.
He's
You
showing the
turning
tip.
me on. Stop.
This
Stop.
is-
Stop.
What
Hey,
did
look,
Vince McMahon say on the original WCW? Yes,
Bro.
this is me.
I'm about to.
So
I'm
you're
about to say
seeing
some
me on
wild stuff.
championship culture with the 3-count championship. No, this isn't a
Ooh.
mistake.
Where
Some
you
wild
come down?
stuff. Some wild stuff about to come on my mouth, bro. Bro,
No,
you
showing
showing me the belt, bro. I'm about to go.
Ladies
get
and
the baby
gentlemen,
oil.
what
I'm about
he's
to go get the
showing us
baby oil.
is
I'm just saying,
the,
the cell phone is on point. You know what I'm
Stop it.
saying?
The new,
You all got
the
this
new-
one though.
Oh, so it's definitely an upgrade from season 1 to season 2 because season 2 is underway. A 3-count trivia where those championship culture boys on the rating got to defend with the soul. You making the champion defend every round.
Defending 3-count trivia champions. I might go get my T-shirt. Goddamn, where's it at?
Yeah, we should have won that tonight.
I should have.
Yeah, I couldn't find my
I'm
championship culture
surprised he
shirt
didn't.
tonight.
I'm surprised.
That's
he
all
didn't.
good.
Are you good?
Yeah, she's
It
a
wouldn't have matched.
Butte
It wouldn't have matched the Yankee hat. So
No, I wouldn't have.
No.
yeah.
Now we're wearing Met colors, a Met hat. Like, I don't want to do that right now.
Oh yeah, because the Mets are doing good in the sports, right?
Yes, in the sports.
Yes,
Are they still
they're
good?
doing
I stopped
good.
watching after our team left.
I know you
Y'all
did,
doing
'cause
so
it
good,
was a sad.
Right.
It's a touchy subject.
Yeah. It's all good though.
Mr. Savage,
I'll cry
tell
later.
the people where they can find you.
They can find me at Brandy Freaking Savage on Twitter. They can find me at Life and Times on Instagram. And you can also find these shirts that I'm wearing right now. You can find it on foursidesofthering.com. We got a bunch of different designs for you guys to check out.
That was the wrong picture. You were supposed to put the other picture up.
Wait, bro, look, I couldn't. Hey, look,
That was a great picture too. What you mean?
that was smooth, right?
You know
so
which one
many
I'm talking.
smiles.
You know which one I'm talking about.
Nah, I missed
The one in
which
the
one you
fur,
talking about.
the mink coat.
Oh,
yeah.
my contact photo.
Yeah.
That's just a
he
smooth
called
one.
me one day. I said, "Oh, that's Brady." Okay, and that's when you're in Brady Savage mode. That was Brandon in the
Exactly.
picture. That wasn't Brady
that's
Savage.
gimmick B.
Okay. Yeah. So every Thursday, right for
Four sides
Four
of the
Sides
ring.
of the Ring.
3 count trivia just drop today. We have the second episode that came out today.
Mhm.
I think there's another episode coming out next week. Definitely check that out. Get a little touch to see what their challenges are going to be. But there's a lot more
we already
TNA
know.
this year,
We gotta.
guys.
I know, and you know
Yeah.
that's a bad thing. That you said TNA. You just, ooh, buddy. I don't like those Max Caster raps. You can keep them because some of them were like, what? Like he just started the first episode. He started in the middle. This episode, he started in the beginning. I was like, all of them start off the same. Listen, I feel like they really start off. Listen, I never paid attention to that.
He always starts off listen.
I never paid attention. He does that until what you call it was. As long as we don't have to hear the monotones of him. No, that was you reading it.
He was reading it.
No,
Monotone is only tiebreakers this year.
Okay.
Okay. Because I was ready for that, man.
When he was
It's all
doing the
good.
interest thieves, I was
It's
like,
all good. It's all good.
That's a fun one. That's a fun one. That's a good tiebreaker in my opinion.
Yeah, it
Definitely.
is. It's actually
Definitely.
fun. All right, so definitely check out Mr. Brandy Freaking Savage on Four Sides of the Ring, where you can see the founder, Nick Ram, the man that makes you say all day,
Sides of the ring.
and
Four sides of the ring. Hey.
Everybody got a team, but they
Chad
down in the
on-
ring.
See, I told you that's what it say here.
That
Ain't that what I
theme
said?
song, boy. That theme, boy.
And like the first time I said that, he said, "That's what it say." I said, "Yes." He's like,
It works
"Okay,
perfect for opinionated.
Right.
But yeah, in China, I can't forget my guy China. So you can check out. And hold on, who did I miss?
Zombie King.
Because he ain't been on there in a while.
Yeah.
He too
You know,
busy doing the wrestle.
We still got his highlights and stuff. Yeah, he's been wrestling a lot more lately.
He's been doing the
He's getting
wrestle.
busy in the ring. He's
Yeah.
getting busy. I don't know if you guys follow him on Instagram. My boy is getting jacked.
Yeah, I seen him.
He's getting.
I'm like, bro,
jacked.
you gotta chill, man. Go sit down somewhere, man. I'm tired
And
of
he,
seeing
he
him.
was bigger when we seen him in when you guys came up to Jersey. He was bigger then. Like I even showed my dad the video of him giving the guy the chop. My dad was like, "Oh, he got huge," and he's even bigger now. So
he's huge, bro.
You should have seen his face when he came out. We were screaming. I wish we would have got it. He was like, "Oh!" He was like,
the man jumped.
didn't expect
He
this.
jumped the barricade and like jumped into our arms. I was like, "Oh,
Just to take a
okay."
picture.
Hey,
I was
what's
like,
up?
"Oh."
Love that.
Because we
guy.
were sitting there, it's like, "Oh, we miss him. Oh, we miss him," and try not to like tell y'all we was there. So it was kind of cool. But
that was fire.
It was.
I think
Great times.
hard times.
Hard times. I watched it like another 10. I watched it like another 10 times today, bro.
How did that man try to
tripping over
promo
that.
for 10 straight minutes to say nothing?
Not a
He
daggone
nothing.
thing.
said nothing. You want to know why the final boss is feeling? The final boss is pissed. The final boss is angry. You want to know what he's going to do? I'm going to tell you what he's going to do. If I had a sister, I introduce her to you. Hey, that's me. I was like, he's just going to speak to everybody. What do you say? Tequila and beer. Then he's
Tequila
like,
beer.
"Beer."
On the rock. On the rock.
It's just
Like,
funny
we got
seeing him
lost.
turn it on. Like he could clearly it takes a moment, but he could turn it on when it's on.
Right.
Boy,
Just don't stop.
smoke some more crack.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, we
Have
get
y'all checked Twitter? Have y'all
No,
checked
did-
Twitter?
No,
Have y'all checked Twitter?
No.
Oh, did you check? No. Oh, we gotta get to. I don't want to give anybody spoilers who hasn't watched NXT yet because I'm waiting to see if we're gonna get these new tag belts. But something else great has happened. But with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up because we need to get to just the tip. No, what do we call it? No, you're.
I don't know. That sounds about
Oh,
right.
no, we just keep changing the name. But
Tip top.
yeah, tips. Make sure. Can't even think straight now. Make sure to hit that subscribe button so you never miss it beyond the tip. See, Justin, you threw me. Justin threw me off. And then, oh, by the way, see, Craig gets it. CM Punk is overrated, but he only has gimmick matches. That's good.
My guy.
he only has gimmick matches. That shit good. He was like, I need a drink. Remember that? He was like, I need a drink. That first match, he was like, "Oh,
God.
I need a drink." And I'm thinking of Miss Zombie King. He said, "I'm gonna go get a drink." But
Oh my
dude, you
God.
must see. This is why we can't be on screen of. What was I at? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance when we go live. Follow us on all social media platforms, and don't forget tune in every Tuesday at 8 p.m. for a new episode of Championship Culture. And I think next week we got another guest that the people will love.
Right,
Thank you for watching. And remember, every belt has a story, and I can't wait to hear yours.
Peace.
You enjoying the show so far? Good. Go over to Instagram and follow us at Championship Culture _. And don't forget, check out youtube.com/TheWrestlingRoom. Look for the playlist for Championship Culture. And remember, every belt has a story.